Solving a system of linear equations by elimination. The idea behind the method of elimination is to replace the original system by an equivalent system so that adding the two of the equation eliminates a variable. Some ground rules before we begin to solve. So rule number 1 is that you can interchange any two equations of the system. It doesn't matter. So rule 2 states that you must multiply or divide each side of an equation by the same non-zero constant. It can't be different, it must be the same. So rule 3 states that you can replace any equation in the system by sum or difference of that equation and a non-zero multiple of any other equation in the system. You don't have to do this part, but first I would recommend that you rewrite the system of equations and label them accordingly to limit confusion because you'll be getting a lot of different equations. So the first step is to multiply both sides of one or both equations by a non-zero constant so the coefficients of one of the variables are additive inverses. So in this example, we'll be taking the second equation and multiplying it by 2. Because there is already a negative on the x, it'll be easier to cancel it out in the next step. So before we move on to the second step, we need to distribute the 2 into the second equation as we had decided. So we get that negative 2x plus 2y equals negative 6. So then we need to move on to the second step and add the equations to eliminate the variable. And we get that the negative 2x and the 2x cancel, and the 3y plus 2y equals 5y, and the negative 6 plus 1 equals negative 5. So then we divide by 5 on both sides to get the y alone, and we get that y equals negative 1. So step 3 is to substitute the value of the variable found in step 2, which is y equals negative 1, back into one of the original equations to find the value of the remaining variable. So we will take the first equation, which was 2x plus 3y equals 1, and plug in negative 1 for y. And when we do that, we get that 2x minus 3 equals 1. We simplify, we add the 3, we get that 2x equals 4, and then we divide each side by 2, and we get that x equals 2. So the last thing to do when solving a system of equations is to check your answer. So in order for you to check your answer, you take the values that you discovered, the x and the y, and you plug it into one of the original equations. So we will use that first equation, 2x plus 3y, and we'll substitute 2 for x and negative 1 for y. We get that 4 minus 3 equals 1, and when we check our answer, 1 does equal 1, so you have the right answer. Congrats!